Welcome, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us. My name is Joe Gagliardi. I'm the Senior Director of Development and Alumni Relations for the University of Michigan School of Kinesiology, and I'm thrilled you've all taken the time to join us today for what is the first and what we hope is a series of webinars sharing some of the fantastic work that's going on here in the School of Kinesiology. So I'm really pleased today to be joined by my colleague, Dr. Rebecca Hassan, and a number of other of her team. We're going to share a little bit more today with you about work that's going on in facilitating student learning, resilience, and recovery through movement, through Dr. Hassan's research and some fantastic partnerships in the community that we hope is going to be of great interest to you. Just as a quick bit of background, Dr. Rebecca Hassan is an associate professor of movement science. She's also director of the Childhood Disparities Research Laboratory here at the University of Michigan School of Kinesiology. She's also the director and principal investigator of IMPACT, which you'll learn quite a bit more about today. She holds a dual appointment as an associate professor of nutritional sciences here at the School of Public Health as well. Prior to her time here at Michigan, Dr. Hassan was a W.K. Kellogg Health Scholars postdoctoral fellow at the Center on Social Disparities in Health at the University of California, San Francisco. She completed her PhD in kinesiology at the University of Massachusetts. So with that, I am thrilled to introduce Dr. Rebecca Hassan, who will share a little bit more about our panel for the day.
Thank you, Joe, for that wonderful introduction. And again, thank you to everyone who chose to take this next hour to hear about all of the exciting work that we are doing here in the School of Kinesiology and across the University of Michigan and the state to improve student health and well-being. This is a time that all of you know that it has been very difficult for students to learn, for students to live, and for them to just live their best lives. But here at the University of Michigan, we are working hard to facilitate student learning, resilience, and recovery through movement. And here with me today, I have a couple of our community partners to help share the story of how this came about and what our long-term goals are. So as many of you know, there are many opportunities for children to be active at school. And here at the School of Kinesiology, we are very interested in getting K-12 kids moving and helping them to meet the physical activity recommendations, which is 60 minutes of health-enhancing physical activity every single day. And there are many ways in which you can do that. And even the CDC put forth a comprehensive physical activity program that allows for children and allows for teachers, superintendents, principals to pick from a buffet of different options of physical activity opportunities at schools. You can see here on this wonderful slide developed by the Robert Wood Johnson Foundation that requiring daily PE is the #1 way to get kids moving. Not only do they have health enhancing physical activity in those environments, but they're also learning how to move. But we have chosen to really focus on classroom activity breaks because it is in the classroom that most children have an opportunity to, do not have an opportunity to get much movement, and they're usually in seated instruction most of the day. And so what we have been able to do is work with teachers across the state for the past 7 or 8 years to reintegrate movement into that space. And it has been a great opportunity for us to work with teachers, work with students to interrupt prolonged sitting with activity. It has been a wonderful opportunity to get 20 minutes of health-enhancing physical activity. And we have worked with teachers to develop supports. We've worked with teachers to develop all sorts of activities and resources and coaching models to help them implement activity breaks consistently and with fidelity. We know that some teachers have fewer resources than others, so we wanted to make it an equal, equitable playing field, and that has been our primary role for the past 7 or 8 years working with Michigan teachers. But the pandemic hit, and we know that schools were closed and that physical activity went down quite dramatically. And as we are concerned about the actual health and diagnosis rate of the infectious disease, we know that there have been many unintended consequences of COVID-19 pandemic on children. As we look to the literature, we were projecting this a year ago. We knew that all of these negative consequences were likely going to happen. And now we actually have evidence from the literature, from science, that tells us that our worst fears have in fact come true. We know that physical activity declined dramatically as schools closed, as there was no more recess, no more PE, or PE was in a different form. There weren't any more classroom activity breaks, and there wasn't any walking to and from school. We also know that playgrounds and parks weren't accessible during the first few months of the pandemic. And as a result, we know that screen time doubled in our adolescent population and physical activity declined dramatically. Not only that, we have seen rapid weight gain in our children. We know that now from the literature, one of our colleagues, Dr. Susan Wolford here at the University of Michigan, has demonstrated in a recent article that childhood obesity actually increased by 9% over the last year. And that is a huge rapid weight gain that we have seen as in part as a function of the lack of physical activity opportunities that were available. We also know, those of us who are familiar and work in the school systems, we know that there was a digital divide before the pandemic. And that digital divide was made even more obvious in terms of, we know that over a third of the students in our schools do not have internet access in their homes. And so this became a huge barrier as we transitioned to a virtual environment in schools. So the achievement gap, we have data from the US Department of Education now that we did see disparities in our achievement gap widen, and that digital divide had a major influence on that. We also know, not only just thinking about the physical health of our students, we know that the mental and social emotional health of our students declined as well. We have a lot of literature now that shows that depression and anxiety symptoms increased dramatically. We even know the news, the really saddened news that actually suicide rates have increased dramatically, not only in the state of Michigan, but across the country and even worldwide. We know that depression and anxiety symptoms are increasing dramatically. But probably one of the most heartbreaking unintended consequences of the COVID-19 pandemic on children is the number of children who were orphaned or lost a caregiver to death, to COVID death. We know that at least 170,000 children lost one parent, some of them both parents, during this pandemic. And so all of this can have a tremendous impact on the health and well-being of our students as they are trying to navigate this COVID climate, because we're still not out of it. So what did we do? Before we even knew that this data was true and we knew that there was going to be projections, how did we try to adapt and provide resources and physical activity opportunities to students across the state? Well, the first thing we did was form partnerships. We had a wonderful opportunity to form partnerships with SHAPE, with the Detroit Pistons, with the Lions, the Michigan Department of Education, and the Michigan Public Health Institute, Playworks, MISHCA, our Health Coordinators Association, and our Michigan Elementary and Middle School Principals Association. And it was the Vice President of the School Board of Education, Dr. Pamela Pugh, who really was the jumpstart to this initiative, as she contacted us and asked us, how can we help to get kids moving at a time when they need it up the most and when accessibility to physical activity opportunities were not available? And so by forming these partnerships with all of these different organizations who wanted to put our children's health first, we were able to create a plan to get kids moving. We had a lot of partnerships outside the university, but we cannot underestimate the power of the UM staff and other faculty who enabled the Impact at Home to be created. We had staff within the School of Kinesiology to help us identify funding opportunities and manage the funding that occurred. And we also had the Exercise Sports Science Initiative faculty and staff who helped us to really understand how can we take what we've done in the classroom and translate it into the home environment, which was needed at a time during last year, during the pandemic, at the beginning months of the pandemic, when everyone was sheltering in place. So we want to take a lot of time to talk about how really here at the University of Michigan, it is all about the team, the team, the team. And there was a huge team to get this program off the ground. So what is the program? And how did we convert what we were doing in the classrooms and put it into the home environment? We had an opportunity to work with an implementation scientist, Andy Eisman at Wayne State University, and she helped us to identify what is the simplest solution possible to take what we've done in the classroom and actually convert it into the home environment. And that's exactly what we did. We knew that we could get 20 minutes in the home and in the classroom, and we kept that same dose to try to strive for 20 minutes in the home environment. We kept the core elements of the program, making sure that it was still instructor-led. We used exercise videos, and we kept that intervention dose. And our final strategy, as opposed to using the classrooms, we use the power of the media. So through social media, through all of our partnerships, through our partnership and collaboration with the Vice President of the State Board of Education, Dr. Pamela Pugh, we were able to get the information out, develop a website, and make sure that children had access to physical activity. And with a new partnership with Detroit Public Television, we were actually able to partner with them to develop videos in studio that could be broadcast across the state. If you remember me speaking earlier, again, a third of our students didn't have access to the internet. So even if we had videos that were freely available on the internet, we would be losing out on several thousands of students who would not be able to access these materials. So we partnered with the new Michigan Learning Channel to bring Impact at Home to a TV near you. It was an exciting opportunity, and we have our recent statistics that say 450,000 viewers watch the Michigan Learning Channel and access the Impact at Home videos each month. And so that is exciting news, and that is great reach for our program as it relates to increasing access to physical activity opportunities, again, during the COVID-19 pandemic. But why did we focus on physical activity? And Amy Wassman is here to give us some of that reasoning. Why, of all the problems that we have, why focus on physical activity? Amy is one of my collaborators that we've been working together fearlessly and courageously over this past year in schools and in homes to bring physical activity to children across the state. She is the Whole Child Programs Director at Saginaw Intermediate School District, and she's here to give us the why behind physical activity. Amy, welcome.
Thank you, Rebecca. I just want to say in the work that I do, I am exposed to so many different programs where people believe in what they do and they really just want to get it in schools. And I am here to say in my 14 years, almost 14 years at Saginaw ISD doing this work, this is the program that when I met Rebecca in the elevator, I knew this is the program that's going to significantly impact and reach our youth in Michigan. And so I cannot talk enough about this program, and I'm just so excited to share with you kind of the why and why is it so important in the work that we're doing, and why is physical activity so important in helping youth. So the very first thing, Rebecca, you'll see in the next slide, why physical activity? There's so many programs out there, and there's so much research about different aspects on that improves physical health and mental health. But the biggest piece is that physical activity. And it's so easy. So I think those are some of the pieces. Anyone can be active at their activity level. But what does it do? What does physical activity truly do to students, to youth, to teens, when looking at that big picture of adulthood and being healthy and being successful? Nothing else, not healthy eating, not mental health services, physical activity hits on so many different components. So when we look at that intellectual capital, we're talking about the more physical activity we have in schools, and at home, the more likely they're going to be engaged in school. They're more likely to be able to stay focused when they're learning. We talk about the fact that we need oxygenated blood getting to the brains for students to really be able to comprehend and learn and be able to concentrate. Physical activity does that. And what I love about Impact is it doesn't have to be a huge long portion of time. It can be in small chunks. So whether you're doing it at school, whether you're doing it at home, that physical activity is important and it adds up at the end of the day. It helps with memory and being able to recall information. When you look at physical activity and our students being physically active on a regular basis, we see academics improve. We see their test scores, their standardized test scores improve and increase, all because of physical activity. That is why the CDC recommends that 60 minutes a day. Not only is it to just remain healthy physically, but it's also for that academic piece, but it's also about that emotional capital, like that mental health piece, that feel good. When you're physically active, you feel good. It releases those endorphins that give you that sense of well-being. And that is such a strong piece when we're also looking at that mental health. You know, Rebecca talked about the fact that our youth, we had high suicide rates amongst our teen population before COVID, and it is now dramatically increased because of COVID. And physical activity can help a little bit with that emotional well-being. And that is phenomenal. And our youth need that. It's also been a very stressful time. And physical activity really helps reduce that stress and anxiety as well. But when we look at that social capital, big picture, youth who are physically active through their teenage years, they're more likely to go on to college. They're more likely to be as successful adults. They're more likely to live longer. And this is the first generation of youth that is their life expectancy is actually less than their parents' generation. I just want that to sink in. We're talking 5 years less than their parents' generation when they look at just the longevity, how long they're going to live. And so how do we encourage that physical activity so we can change those numbers? And that's really the key. The biggest piece too, and why I love Impact at Home, is it really allows the families to get active, because the research also shows if you have active parents growing up, you're more likely to be not only active as a child, but also active in adulthood. So we're looking at that lifetime health and wellness piece as well. And as we move on to the next slide, we're going to talk about the fact of what have the barriers been. There were a lot of barriers around physical activity before COVID, and then they just exacerbated during COVID. So when we're looking at some of those challenges at school, it used to be where we could get all of those 60 minutes of physical activity at school. And then things happened. School budgets got cut or remained stagnant, but health insurance costs increased, salaries increased, all of these other expenses increased. And so what happened? Well, about 7 or 8 years ago, we saw a trend in our specials classes being cut at that elementary level, and that included PE. And so we had students that did not receive PE at all, or if they did, their classroom teachers took them to PE rather than their PE instructor. And so our students lost some of that PE time. We see specials being cut. We see our recesses are being cut back because we have to pay parapros to be on the playgrounds with our students. And so, when I was in school, we had 3 recesses over the course of the day. And now our kids get one. And that's only if the weather is nice. If it's 20 below zero outside, or if it's raining, then they're cooped up inside. Sometimes they do indoor recess. But really, that piece is also limited. And in the winter, if you've been in an elementary building, it takes those kiddos so long to put snow pants on and then take them back off. Their recess time gets cut even more so. Another piece that we're seeing is sometimes recess is limited because students are behind and need to get caught up on their schoolwork. And so we work really hard at talking about the need for recess. No matter where students are, they need that activity. But as Rebecca said, screen time has increased significantly over the years. But our teachers are seeing classroom behaviors overriding learning opportunities. Before COVID, we worked with elementary teachers, and they said between 50 and 75% of their time in the classroom can be managing behaviors. The range was anywhere from 25% to 75% of their classroom instructional time was really just working on addressing behaviors. And a lot of that can easily be rectified through a little more physical activity. Young kiddos are not meant to sit all day long. And so how do we get them active to see those classroom behaviors decrease? Also, looking at that home life, what we're also seeing is we have communities where it's not safe to play outside, where they do not have sidewalks to be able to walk safely to a park. They may not have parks readily accessible to them. And so that is really a barrier at home, is just that unsafe environment for youth to be able to get out and be active. Also, a lot of our families don't have some of the equipment that they think they need to be physically active. And so our students and our youth are not as active at home as they used to be. And we're seeing that childhood obesity rate increase. Michigan is higher than the national average when we look at childhood obesity. And that is something that I feel this program can really start moving the needle statewide. And I even think nationally. I would love to see this go national. But then COVID hit. And then we saw everything that we started having issues with just blow up. We have substitute teacher shortages right now. We still do. We're in our third year of COVID, of impacted learning with COVID. We have shortages. So our specials teachers are often filling in and acting as subs for classrooms, which means our students aren't getting PE. PE has been, especially last year, was altered or canceled altogether because of the unknown of COVID and the worry of transmission. And so where we used to get our kiddos all up and active and the hearts racing and that cardio going, we had to slow that down because we were worried about transmission. Also, students are, in order to kind of restrict exposure, students were staying in their classrooms. They weren't walking to the cafeteria. They weren't walking to their specials classes. The teachers were coming into their classrooms and doing those specials lessons, whether it was PE or art or music. So they weren't even getting those get up and move around a few times a day activities through going to a different classroom. Once they were in the classroom, they were there all day. So again, we saw that more sedentary behavior going on. But also families were just worried about going out. Early in COVID, we didn't know how contagious everything was. And so if we did have access to parks, we weren't going to parks. We didn't go, our sports were canceled. Our club and rec events were canceled because we could not be in large groups. And it took some time to figure out how we're going to fill that void, and really Impact at Home fills that void in an amazing way. And so looking at all of that, but also looking at that trauma and stress, Rebecca talked about a lot of our youth dealt with death due to COVID. And all of that trauma and stress is building that cortisol in their systems. And the best way to get rid of that is through exercise. And so how do we get our students active for that so they can help with all of that stress and loss and all of their anxiety, but then also be active so that they can learn and concentrate and be able to recall the information that they need to be successful in school. And so I'm just going to say I cannot talk this program up enough as a person who is working with our locals and trying to find initiatives that are really going to help our families and our students, and Impact at Home really does that. And Rebecca, I'm going to pass this off to you to talk. I'm sorry, I just love this program so much, and I just can't stop talking about it, but I am. So thank you, Rebecca.
Thank you, Amy, and thank you for your continued support of the program. Here you will see just a picture of the new website that was developed that is hosted on the Exercise Sports Science Initiative website, to where both families and teachers can log in, track their physical activity over time, and again, making physical activity accessible to children in their homes, even still as individuals are still quarantining or having to take days at home from work. But we didn't just want to promote physical activity, we also wanted to promote family engagement. This was a unique time in our history where families were spending more time together. While they were cooped up in their house, this is probably more hours that parents have spent with their children, maybe even within their own lifespan. And so we wanted to give an opportunity to actually take that time to move together, think together, and be together. So we brought together a family engagement team to think about what are the different skills that we want our parents to help build in their children, as to help build resilience and help their children recover from the COVID-19 pandemic. And how do we make physical activity the foundational behavior by which these skills are being developed? You see here the pictures of all of the team members that range from psychologists to teachers to PE teachers to individuals that work at the Michigan Department of Education. And they all came together to develop family engagement toolkits. So here we have with us today one of our team members, who is Lisa Jo Gagliardi. And she's going to tell us a little bit more about those family engagement toolkits that we spent time on and disseminated out to the state over the past year.
Thank you, Rebecca. Okay, let's make sure. Okay, so thank you so much for having me. And I'm Lisa Jo Gagliardi, and I've been working on the Impact at Home project for almost about a year and a half or 2 years. And I would love to share with you what's really near and dear to my heart with the Impact at Home piece, which is the family engagement. And so we brought together the team that Rebecca just showed you of amazing people and minds that really had children's health and well-being in mind. And we came together and we had a lot of conversations about what this was going to look like, this family engagement piece. And what we kept on coming back to was, no matter what angle we were coming at, what content area, what subject we wanted to talk about, it kept tying back to how does this all tie together? And so we came up with a series of modules. And these are for families, so for parent caregivers. And it's for them to learn about the topic. It's also for them to then be able to model it and then be able to use it and teach it with their student at home. And so we you can see on the graphic here that we had kind of three main areas. So social emotional health was one of them, and you can see what's in there. Focus, family discussions, feeling good, resilience, and then team building. When you move on to behavioral health kind of pieces, we have lifestyle choices, nutrition, physical activity, and sleep. And then in the final part with physical health, we have things like asthma control, blood pressure, blood sugar, and cholesterol. So when we came up with what each of these topics was going to be, one of the first things we felt is that we had to have it spiraling around a common structure, a common message. And so our common message was to move together as a family, to think together as a family, and to be together as a family. Meaning the caregiver or parent isn't practicing resilience in a silo, or they're not telling their kid how to be resilient and not doing it with them, but that they were moving together, they were thinking together, and they were being together. And the thought was really around, we were going through COVID and so many were sheltering in place, and these families were all together for most of the time in their homes. And so how could we support them best? In the next slide, then we really, once we hammered out what topics we were going to come at this with, we then said we really need to have a holistic approach. And we kept on having to come back to the why of impact, which is around promoting physical activity, right? And we came up with the topics we came up with because they supported physical activity, or physical activity supported them, or both. For instance, in the module I authored, Focus, which is really about how, with all of the competing demands and stresses we have in lives, whether you're adult or a child, how do we retain that ability to truly focus and stay centered? And so activities within that module would be anything from low to things like breathing exercises and stretches, to moderate, like a brisk walk or a mindful walk, to more vigorous, which would be getting 30 to 60 minutes of more vigorous activity, along with addressing a lot of different things. For instance, in that module, we address screen time, video games, social media. We address, can we go back to the previous slide? Thank you. We also come at it from nutrition. We come at it from a number of different ways. And so we thought about, okay, physical activity really goes through all of these. And so when I saw this beautiful piece of weaving, I wanted to share it in my presentation because I think it's very, it's a good analogy for what the family engagement piece really is trying to do. So in all those different colors or veins within this piece, those are the different topic areas we come at it from: resilience, nutrition, lifestyles, etc. And those little threads, if you can see them, that's the physical activity piece. And so in every single one of our modules, physical activity is woven into how it relates to that topic. And in the next slide, I'll tell you a little bit more. So the nuts and bolts of the family engagement piece are that we have 8 modules completed. So these are modules that families use. We will have 12 with the final 4 coming soon. There are also monthly challenges. And so within a 30-day calendar month, give or take a day, we're looking for about 20 days of doing one of the challenges in the challenge calendar. You also, as Dr. Hassan talked about, we have the videos and we have the public television segments for physical activity. And what I love about those segments is that while doing physical activity, it's also tying back to the topics we have in our module. So you might have a video around doing some exercises while reviewing the importance of sleep, why sleep is important, and how much is the recommended amount of time for sleep. Example of a video is at the top of that collage I made on the right-hand side of the screen. And that is actually one of our members, Heather Lewis, and she is doing meditation and mindfulness exercises. And then finally, we have the website. And Dr. Hassan, I think, is going to go back to that and talk a little bit more about how that is the next evolution of what we're trying to accomplish with Impact at Home and family engagement. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Lisa Jo. It's great to hear about all the great work that all of the team members have been doing as it relates to family engagement toolkits. And here you can see on the screen the revised website that is actually gamified. So each time that a student or a family member or a teacher engages in the physical activities, they get a little trophy and they get to add their names to a leaderboard. And we know from the literature that gamifying activity breaks is one of the main ways in which you can enhance enjoyment and you can enhance participation. But I cannot take credit for knowing that. This actually came, that's one of the ideas that came from our students in our lab. And I want to introduce to you one of our key students who has been a part of the Impact program since its inception, and that is Miss Lexi Beamer. It was her idea to actually gamify the activity breaks in the classroom, and it is turning out to be a wonderful success as we are implementing physical activity in the home environment. So to share a little bit of her thoughts around Impact and how Impact, the opportunities to train at the University of Michigan in the School of Kinesiology and work in communities, how that has influenced her career trajectory. Lexi?
Awesome. Thank you so much. I'm happy to be here. Thank you to the School of Kinesiology and the Impact team for the opportunity to talk with all of you today and share my story of my academic journey and how I came to be a part of the Impact team. So I'm going to start out just by telling a brief story about when I was a kid and how instead of being asked what I wanted to be when I grew up, my mom would ask me what problem did I want to solve. And so I would think really hard about it and would respond by saying that I really wanted to just help kids be more physically active. And at the time, I didn't know how I was going to do this, but I knew that whatever career I pursued, I wanted it to involve physical activity in kids. And so my passion for physical activity was really ingrained in me at a young age of 7 when I started competitive athletics, and then throughout my childhood of being a competitive athlete, and then just having physical activity, which was a really big mode of something that helped to teach me many skills that shaped who I am as a person, such as having a determined work ethic, great time management, awareness, desire to always put the team above myself, and how each of these skills have not only helped me to succeed in my past as an athlete, but also has helped open doors during my undergraduate, master's, and now PhD student years to help make a difference in the community. But so with my desire to help children be more physically active, I applied and was accepted into the School of Kinesiology here at the university to pursue my bachelor's degree in physical education. And as a first-generation college student, I was ecstatic to be attending such a prestigious institution and to learn from the top professors in the field. And also being a first-generation college student, I did not grow up hearing about graduate school much. And as an undergrad, I wasn't super aware of the different research opportunities or paths that you could pursue to help promote physical activity in our communities. And so during undergrad, with the changing physical activity climate in the state, fewer opportunities in the field of physical education, I really took the opportunity to think through and adapt and explore new career opportunities. And during this time of reassessing what I wanted to do in my future career, I was also a member of the women's varsity rowing team here at Michigan. And through this opportunity, I was able to have another year of eligibility after I was done rowing. So I was able to do an extra year here at the University of Michigan. And while I was deciding if I wanted to do a 5th year of undergrad or start the master's program in kinesiology, I was taking a class called Social Factors of Physical Activity, which was my favorite class in all of undergrad, because we learned how factors such as where someone lives, works, and plays can impact their ability to be physically active. For example, we know that underfunded schools are less likely to have a certified physical education teacher, leading to lower school-based physical activity opportunities for kids. So in this class, I began to learn the critical thinking skills needed to design interventions that tackle these social inequities. And then throughout the semester, I would go to the advisor's walking office hours and ask for advice on my next step, and was encouraged to apply to the master's program here in the School of Kinesiology. And after hearing about my career interests and passions, Dr. Hassan provided me the opportunity to begin working with her and the impact team in the Childhood Disparities Research Lab, and specifically on the Impact Project. And the opportunity to be a part of Impact aligned perfectly with my goals and passions, and is what has changed my career trajectory and life path, because I've worked with the Impact team since its beginning in 2016, and I've seen it grow and change and impact so many children's lives. And during the fall of 2016, we visited our Impact intervention schools twice a week to collect data. And this was my first time conducting research, and only the beginning of what the past 5 years has been. But it was when I learned that what we study in the lab can be applied to the real world. And seeing Impact improve student physical activity participation, along with a high level of support, encouragement, and time given towards fostering the professional and personal development of the students here in the School of Kinesiology. All of these different things is what really has given me the motivation and desire to continue my academic journey and throughout this PhD student process. And currently, I'm working on my dissertation project, which is to assess the barriers and facilitators to child engagement in the Impact at Home program to help promote physical activity for children at home. My education and training thus far has taught me the necessary skills to improve the health and well-being of children and their families through school, home, and community-based physical activity opportunities. I'm forever grateful to the School of Kinesiology and the Impact team for providing me the opportunities to be a part of such an awesome program. And most importantly, for teaching me that research can make a positive difference in the lives of children and their families right in our own backyards. Thank you for listening to my story, and I look forward to seeing the next generation of students who are determined to follow their passions and make an impact in our communities.
Thank you so much, Lexi, for that wonderful story and understanding how has kinesiology influenced your own personal journey. And as Lexi mentioned, we are establishing the evidence base for Impact at Home. There are many research questions tied to this translational project, some of which Lexi is taking on herself, and some of which we have students outside the School of Kinesiology working on. But some of the questions that we're asking are the videos developed high quality, and are there any adaptations we should make to continue to make them accessible to other students across the state? Maybe that they have different ability levels. When we think about how many calories they're burning in the current childhood obesity epidemic, how many calories are they burning as they're engaging in these different activities? Are there any barriers or facilitators in the home that will affect video engagement? And then how does family engagement activities improve social cohesion and child social emotional health as they complete the different modules? We have students also working on this project from the School of Information that are actually looking directly at the website. And the question that they are asking is, how can we optimize user experience of the Impact at Home gamified website to promote youth physical activity? And the two components that they are focusing on is the engagement piece, or how enjoyable is it to work, to use the website, and are there more trophies, more gamification components that we can add to the website to enhance engagement? And then also looking again at accessibility. How do we ensure that this is an equitable program that all children have an opportunity to access via the website? But there's more opportunities that you can help with as we think about moving forward. How do we ensure that Impact at Home is a sustainable program? because we know that the program materials will need updating over time as new information comes out from our laboratory and we're disseminating it across the state. How can we ensure that all teachers and all parents have the most up-to-date information about how to improve the health and well-being of their children? When we think about accessibility, we're continuing to work with Detroit Public Television. And as you know, the physical activities are freely available on the website, but the family engagement toolkits are not, they are not available on TV. And so we're working with them, raising additional funds so that we can produce a TV show focused on physical activity and family engagement. Think of Mr. Rogers. And then another component that you just heard from Lexi and you just saw with the research question that all of our students are working on is related to student training. How can we provide more funding and more opportunities for children, for students to work with children, get community engagement experience, and expand the field with translational knowledge to improve health through physical activity? I want to end by saying that we are not the only ones in the School of Kinesiology who are focused on youth physical activity. We have many researchers across our school that are focused on youth, whether it's in physical education with Dr. Wei-Yun Chin, whether it's focusing on children with autism, Dr. Haley Miller. We've recently hired a new implementation scientist, Dr. Kenneth Hopkins, and Dr. Leah Robinson and Natalie Colabianchi both work in after schools and in the built environment as it relates to renovating parks and how that can improve physical activity. And then Carrie Winkelseth, who is our director of kinesiology programs, offers a variety of different physical activity opportunities, both during the pandemic and now as we are starting to recover from the pandemic. And all of us are working together to promote the health and well-being of children and their families. So with these programs, and especially with the IMPACT program, it is our goal to build resilience and help them recover through the COVID pandemic in the state of Michigan and beyond. And I'll leave you with a quote from one of our principals. She said, "The kids are amazing, I tell you. They have gone through so many disappointments the past 2 years, and I believe that ours will come out much more resilient because of their work and because of the work that your team is doing. Thank you." And so I thank all of our team members, I thank all of our students, and I thank Joe and the School of Kinesiology for giving us this opportunity to speak with you about our program, and we welcome any questions that you may have and ways that you can help. Back to you, Joe.
Thanks, Rebecca. Wow, just fantastic work that's going on and continues to go on. And I want to, thank you and Amy and Lisa, Joe and Lexi for being a part of this. We do have a good amount of time left for questions, and I'd encourage you all to that are on the presentation to submit those to the Q&A. We will do our best to moderate those to any of the group that you want to. But while we're getting some of those questions in, I just want to share with all of you on behalf of the School of Kinesiology. You've heard some pretty amazing work that's going on today. It's just one of, as we mentioned, hopefully a series of efforts that we hope to put forth in sharing the great work that's going on from our school. But for those of you that are interested, we're going to put in the chat here function also a link to the website that Dr. Hassan referenced on IMPACT. That will talk a little bit about the impact in schools as well as impact at home. But also, as you've heard a little bit about, I love the way she phrases sustainability, accessibility, and student training. For those of you that are on the call that are interested in supporting this work, please visit the website. Please look, and there are direct ways you can make financial contributions if you're able to and interested in supporting this effort. I also myself and our team at the School of Kinesiology and will act to connect to Dr. Hassan and others in terms of so you may want to offer financial support, because essentially those three buckets she mentioned, she does an amazing job gathering partnerships and funding opportunities from around the state and nationally, but with support from donors, the ability to create even additional impact would be something that we can expand this program and touch the lives of many more students and families. So with that, I'm going to go to the chat and see if we have some questions coming in. Please don't be shy. I know our panelists would love to answer some questions or clarify some things that maybe you heard on the presentation today.
As we're waiting for questions to come in, I'll pitch a question over to Lisa Joe. And because I know that we presented before together, and you talked a little bit about activities for focusing. And then we heard from Amy talk about how do we help use physical activity to enhance focus. So can you give us a little more insight about what are some of the different activities that we can use to enhance focus that will then translate into increased focus and attention in the classroom, at home, and hopefully lead to more student engagement in that classroom and academic achievement?
Absolutely. I mean, Rebecca, as you know, one of my passions in that module is actually addressing screen time and video games. But around probably my second favorite part of my module is around multitasking, which is actually not a thing. It's actually task switching, which we know scientifically is not good for us, nor is it productive. It gives us a sense of being productive without actual having productivity. And so some activities that you might do with that, if you have a job like mine, for instance, where I tend to be on my computer quite a bit in meetings and things of that nature, in the module, we do have examples and tools that you can use for stretching and breathing exercises that you might do just even in your chair. We also talk about meaningful breaks where you actually get up away from your workstation or where you're doing your work and actually stretch, do some breathing exercises, maybe a 5-minute quick walk, maybe just grab a healthy snack, but to get up and move periodically. And then we might look at more moderate things. So like if you have the ability to go on a mindful walk on your lunch break, or things of that nature, doing it with your family would be great. And I want to make a note that I'm talking about how adults can use this, but I make it very clear in my module. Teach your kids how to do these things. They also can do it and can be very beneficial. And then, of course, you have the more vigorous activities, like going and playing a game of basketball as a family, going for a run, hike, things like that. They'll get your heart moving. And we know that that brings calm to our minds and relaxes us, takes stress away. We know that. So, yes.
Great. Thank you so much. And we have a question from the audience that asks a question, and anyone can respond to this one, but any thoughts or findings on the roles and differences, including over the life course, between child's play that is structured, semi-structured, and unstructured? And relatedly, about differences between us and Scandinavia and other industrialized democracies and wealthy nations. So this is a big question, but thinking about the different types of physical activity, whether it's structured, whether it's free play, whether it's sports, how that might enhance resilience, how that might enhance recovery. And then what are some challenges maybe in our United States compared to other countries where we see classroom activity breaks, home physical activity very easily implemented on a regular basis? Amy, you want to start? And then we'll pass it over to Lisa Jo.
Yes. So first and foremost, getting up and moving is our primary hope and dream, right? So it really doesn't always matter whether it's structured or whether it's free play, but coming from a resilience piece and coming from a social emotional learning aspect, youth need that free play where they kind of figure out the rules and the social etiquette, and they practice these relational skills and team building and problem solving that some of the other sports related, more structured ones do. But free play, we cannot forget how important free play is, especially with our younger kiddos, our preschool, our elementary age students. But when we're looking at reducing stress and that sort of thing, being active and doing something that you enjoy. So if you're not a sports person, being put into a sports like physical activity is not going to help decrease that stress. So I think giving youth some options, especially at home, on what they can do to be physically active is the most important piece.
Lisa Jo, thoughts?
I understand that question, and there's a lot of debate around that, and that we tend to be much more structured here in America. coming from a family perspective and engagement, I really encourage people, if they have the opportunity to go out into a safe environment, to observe nature. If they're lucky enough to live in the UP like myself, you can take a lovely nature bath, which I actually do with my children. But even sitting outside and looking at a tree and just being mindful for a small amount of time can be really helpful. So being in nature, but also the effects of play that's unstructured is really where children get to learn about the physical world and natural consequences. A lot of our children are exposed to these more controlled consequences, discipline that they get in school or that they get at home. And so, when you're having free play and I whack my friend with a stick and they cry, then that's teaching me that that wasn't okay and that I could hurt somebody when I do that. And so if I'm not careful when I get to the top of the slide and I hurt myself, then I realize I need to be more safe in my environment. And so there's a lot of people that subscribe to more free play. And then there are people that think that it should be more structured. And I think a balance between the two, from a personal point of view, would probably be best.
Mhm, mhm. We also, for those of you who may not be familiar, the Playworks, an organization that we have partnered with, is actually releasing a best practices as it relates to recess. And it should be coming out within the next month or so. I had the fortunate opportunity of helping to develop those best practices, and it really emphasizes all of the skill building that comes with free play and less structured play, and giving children the opportunity to just get outside and move, either move together, move independently, move in groups where you can build those life skills. So be on the lookout for that document coming out soon. Also, in relation to the point that was raised around implementing activity structured statewide national activity in the United States versus other countries, at least here in the state of Michigan, we know that we are very locally controlled. And so there are pluses and minuses, or opportunities and challenges, when we use that model. One, principals, superintendents get to figure out what works best for their students in their community, which is an absolute positive way. A challenge to that model is that it is a little more difficult to widely disseminate programs across the state or even across the nation, because there is so much autonomy at that local level. But one of the great things that we have here at the state of Michigan is the organization MISHCA. So MISHCA is the School Health Coordinators Association, which Amy Wassman is the current president of. And tell us a little bit about Michigan Model for Health, which is and this will probably be our final question because we might be running out of time, but tell us a little bit about Michigan Model for Health, how Impact aligns with that, and what are future plans to integrate Impact into the health curriculum?
So MISHCA is the Michigan School Health Coordinators Association, and there are 22 coordinators in the state that reach every public, private, and charter school in Michigan. And we really focus on the whole child and coordinated comprehensive school health kind of concepts. And so one of the aspects when we were looking at our curriculum Michigan model, which is a pre-K through grade 12 curriculum, was that while we talked about physical activity and we had some parent connection pieces, they weren't really strong. So when we were working with Impact, we really saw the blending of the concepts in our goals for our youth between both programs. And so we're working very closely with Rebecca and her team to try to figure out how do we blend this in our training as we're training our teachers around Michigan Model for Health, to embed this Impact at School piece, but then also how do we get these phenomenal family resources, but then also the information about our videos out to families. And I think this partnership is huge, because while you have the awesome team creating all of this wonderful evidence-based programming, we have the capacity to get it out to all of the teachers in all of the buildings. And that's what kind of sets Michigan apart from every other state in the nation, and is so exciting. It's just so exciting about that. And so how do we, we're all about getting kids moving, getting them active, having them be able to find activities that they enjoy, because we know if you don't enjoy it, I always say if running was the only option, I would never be physically active ever. I have tried to be a happy runner. I am not a happy runner. And so I have to do other things. I like taking nature walks. I like playing with my dog. I like doing yoga and other things. And that's what's great about physical activity is everybody can find something that they enjoy doing. And we just want that movement piece. And so when we're talking about Michigan Model and we're talking about healthy lifestyles and we're tying in movement, Impact was just a natural partnership and connection to really strengthen both programs and both initiatives.
So real quickly, I know we are out of time, but there is one last question that I can quickly answer, and it was in the chat box, and it asks, can the Impact program be utilized in preschool age children, 2.5 to 4 years old? Is it age appropriate? And what I would like to do is refer you to Dr. Leah Robinson's program as she works in that age group. She has a wonderful program called CHAMPS, and if you email her, she will give you more insight as to, at that age group, we really want to focus on motor skills and teaching children how to learn. And her program does exactly that so that they can improve their physical activity later on in life. So shoot us an email and we will get you in contact with Dr. Leah Robinson. But I will pass it back to Joe for the final thought.
Look at that collaboration amongst colleagues right there, full service. Thank you again. Please join me again, even virtually, thanking Dr. Hassan, Amy, Lisa, Joe, Lexi. Thank you so much for sharing the tremendous work that's going on throughout the state. And again, I so value the partnerships and some of the work that's coming out of here. But and again, thank you all for joining us in this first and hopefully a mini series. So be on the lookout for a follow-up email, which we will provide some additional links for information on the Impact program and other partnerships and the work that Dr. Hassan's leading here in the school. And again, be on the lookout likely sometime in early 2022 for the next in the series of Challenge the Idle State. And with that, again, thank you for spending some time with us this afternoon. Feel free to reach out with questions or for more information. And until the next session, go Blue.
And don't forget to move.